Hi, I'm Harishri, and today let's talk about a very revolutionary concept and an innovative solution that is set to create a whole new space in the residential market. And for that, today I'm joined by the Managing Director of Gera Developments, Mr. Rohit Gera. Mr. Gera, thanks for joining in. You know, we've heard so much about child-centric homes. What is CCH all about?
Well, you know, it is completely different in many ways. At a very fundamental level, what we're doing is we are changing the rules of the game in a way, where we're going from not just a product offering, which most homes and I would think all residential projects currently are, but we're also adding in a service component into it. So in that sense, we're actually creating a whole new product category of real estate called child-centric homes.
So Mr. Gera, tell us all the problems that CCH will be addressing.
You know, what we realized is that there's a number of things which have happened in India over the last 10 or 15 years. They've been noticed in their own individual ways, right? But we decided to put it all together. So for example, today you have husband and wife both working, right? Joint families have split and you now have nuclear families, okay? People are buying homes today much younger than they were 10 and 15 years ago. Right. People are also having children much later today than they used to in the past. Yes. Okay? Today's young Indian is far more aspirational than ever before. Yes. The other big shift that we see has happened is previous generations would tell their kids, you can be anything as long as it's a doctor or an engineer. Mm-hmm. Okay? Today's young parent says, I want my child to be whatever he wants to be, and therefore wants to give his child the exposure to that. In giving their kids this exposure, we found that parents are hassled, they're stressed, they're spending huge amounts of money, getting children from one class to the other, paying for drivers, paying for cars, you know, all of this stuff. Right. So we said that there is a need to come up with a product offering with the home that can actually solve these problems. And that's where the concept of child-centric homes really came about, where we looked at saying we must look at children's development, we should look at safety of children, we should look at convenience for parents, and it should be fun for children, because once you've got kids there, it has to be fun. So really the concept of child-centric homes is then based on these 4 pillars, which we then went and explored further, did a lot of market research, went back to a lot of customers, went back to focus groups, and really came up with what we think is an offering that works for today's young Indian home buyer.
So you have an amazing sign-up with celebrities, some of the top celebrities. Who are these celebrities and what kind of training will the celebrities be providing to the children?
You know, one of the questions that came back when we were talking to young parents was, how do you guarantee quality, right? It's all very well to have all these facilities, and there's so many projects which have swimming pools and they have tennis courts, right? Some people actually get coaches, but they said that we send our children far away. We spend all that money because we want kids to have good quality of coaching. Right. So we took up the challenge and said, look, if we need to solve this problem, let's just get the best coaching academies in the country for these categories that we're looking at providing. So we tied up with Vishwanathan Anand Chess Academy. Okay. We have Mahesh Bhupati's Tennis Academy. In cricket, we have Anil Kumble's Tenwick Academy coaching kids on cricket. Then in the category of the softer side, which is dance, we've tied up with Shamak Davar for the Shamak Davar Dance Academy, and we've tied up with Shankar Mahadevan for music. Right. In addition, we've also tied up with the Dale Carnegie Institute for the young adults, where they get training in leadership, personality development, as well as public speaking. So the idea here was, let's give them the best in class, best in the country quality of coaching. So the way we've done the tie-up with each of these academies is that they run the entire program on our campus, okay? And their visits are determined based on the way they feel they should visit, so that they ensure that the quality of coaching for the kids is maintained at the high standard. Right. In fact, our contracts with them and our documentation with customers even says that if parents are unhappy with the quality of coaching, they have a right to participate with the management team and actually replace one of the coaching academies. With these kind of names, we don't expect that to happen, but we've actually put that into place in the documentation as well, because parents were very clear that the quality of coaching is really critical to them.
Mr. Gera, can you run us through the operational details? I mean, how will a child get the coaching from the institutes run by these celebrities?
The way it works is that every child gets some exposure training to about 12 different verticals in the category of sports, in the category of arts, and in the category of personal development. The exposure coaching is paid for by us, right? So it's about, on an average, it's about 2 months in each field. So every kid gets, for example, 2 months of tennis, 2 months of swimming, 2 months of dance, 2 months of dramatics, and so on. Once the child goes through this program, then if the child has an aptitude or a preference or wants to actually excel or do more in one of them, then the parent ends up paying for the coaching, for additional coaching in that field, or in whichever fields that the parent wants to give the child the additional coaching. Right. So that's really the way the whole thing is planned. Now, in terms of operational details, we're actually planning to have a management group of 2 to 3 people stationed on campus every day to facilitate and manage the whole thing. In addition, coordinating, making sure that appointments are all made, kept, set up. We're creating a mobile app. So for your additional payments, you'll just punch in your credit card details. It gets swept off your credit card. So the entire thing is being done so that it's easy for parents. It's because one of the core values and one of the core foundation stones of the concept of child-centric is convenience for parents. Right. So we have to keep that in mind when we're actually even setting out the operational details, and I think we've actually achieved that.
So are parents going to end up paying a premium for all these services that you're going to provide for them?
Well, look, I think clearly there is an increased cost, but I think we need to look at that in 2 ways. One is we need to provide a high quality infrastructure. And that goes in for the children as well as for the parents to use the facilities. So for example, when we spoke with Shamak Tower, he said, look, my precondition is I need a 1,500 square foot space without any pillars, wooden flooring, mirrors on one wall, air conditioned with a music system built in. Right now, so those are the kind of facilities, even for the tennis courts, for example, they have to be at a certain standard. So we're paying for infrastructure. But I think the value proposition for parents really is to look at this in a much more holistic sense, where it's not just, yes, I'm getting good infrastructure, but I think parents need to look at the savings that they can possibly get in terms of the time that it takes, in terms of the cost that they incur in drop, fetch. And the other aspect is the coaching costs. We have worked out with each of the academies that we've tied up with, that the rates that they will charge within the campus will be less than what they're charging outside as it is. Right. So really, I think the view needs to be one of assessing this on a wider scale, on an overall cost-benefit analysis, and not just to say I'm paying a premium or I'm paying a price. Right. We don't believe in charging a premium just because your child is going to be trained by the Mahesh Bhupati Tennis Academy. I don't think that's what we're really doing.
How is the entire safety of children issue being addressed in this project?
We have safety being taken care of both inside the home. So whether it's earth leakage circuit breakers, so that if a kid pokes something into the plug point, the power lights, the lines switch off. Okay, to extra height railings, to grills on windows. So we've taken care of safety inside the home, as well as there is safety outside of the home. The other big thing about safety is that today parents don't want to send their children outside. When we were growing up, we take a bicycle and just go down the street to cycle. Right. Okay. Today parents do not trust their kids to go outside onto the roads. Right. So I think just having their kids even within the development for all these facilities, not going out with a driver, young girls going out with drivers and stuff like that, even that element of safety then gets automatically covered because everything is provided within the development.
How is your product going to be different in terms of the quality of services that will be provided?
I think child-centric homes is a new product category, right? And I don't think today there's any other developer who has actually looked at children in the home from this perspective. I think there are some developers who do senior citizen housing, okay? And that's the closest that residential real estate has to service and product offering. But with the child at the center, with services where we are tied in for a longer duration, where beyond 5 years has been thought through, hasn't happened so far.
Right. Mr. Gera, you did mention that one of the pillars of your project was convenience. So tell us, how is this project going to be really convenient for parents?
So there's, when we talk about the hassle and the stress that parents today are going through, solving that is by just making things convenient and easy for them, right? So whether we have a creche on campus, so you can drop your child there itself, okay? One of the feedbacks that we got from some of the parents is, a gentleman actually said, he said, you know, the worst thing for me is when I come home in the evening after a hard day and I see that tuition teacher's slippers outside my entrance door, I start getting, you know, my blood pressure goes up, right? So we said, let's solve that, and we actually have a Gurukul area where kids can have tuitions outside of the home. Right. You know, so that's been taken care of. Carpooling, for example, conducting or coordinating summer camps for the children. So all these aspects are pieces of, you know, building convenience, and, you know, just the convenience of having all this coaching and all these facilities available downstairs within the development, we believe will give people a lot of time, reduce stress levels, and therefore it's something that leads to parents getting far more quality time as a result of that.
Right. In fact, you know, maybe you can tell us a little bit about how they will end up really spending more time with each other.
So when it comes to time, okay, people are stressed today. The amount of time it takes to coordinate and to actually figure out which class to send your child to, okay. Then the time that it takes to actually drop the child. A lot of parents are not necessarily hiring chauffeurs, but they're actually doing the drops and pickups themselves, okay. So I think that leads to, eliminating that gives parents more time. Now, whether they use that for themselves, for their careers, is up to them. Right. But certainly freeing up more time is something that child-centric homes would end up doing. Okay. The other aspect that we expect is a lot of parents today, when they send their kids for coaching, don't even know where they're going. Right. Okay? Here you can actually go downstairs. Imagine actually going downstairs, watching your child in the tennis class, and then, you know, when your kid hits a good stroke, he turns around and says, Papa, did you see that? And you can say, yes, beta, great shot. Okay? And when you're going upstairs in the elevator, you actually talk about that. Those are the moments that we feel that child-centric homes actually create as quality moments and really lead to bonding between parents and children.
Mr. Gera, you also mentioned about a resident granny. What is this concept all about?
So it's a really simple concept. Right? So what we're going to do is we have certain apartments earmarked which we will rent to senior citizens, okay? And the idea here is, you know, a lot of people want to go out in the evenings, they don't know where to leave their kids. So I know that there are parents who have been constrained, haven't gone for a movie in the last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, okay? You're not comfortable leaving your 5-year-old child at home alone. So the idea with a resident granny is that the senior citizens are willing to look after kids. So the third bedroom, we would provide, let's say, 4 bunk beds, 2 study tables, and you can leave your kids there in the evening, go out for dinner, go out for a movie, pay the resident granny something, and come back in at night and pick up your kids. Now what this does is, as far as parents are concerned, you have a safe environment. You know the person who you're leaving your child with, right? The children are comfortable because, again, they know where they're going to be. And also, very importantly, it provides some extra income for the retired senior citizens. Right? So, of course, it's a simple concept, but it requires some work at the back end to screen the right people, to make sure that, you know, that they have the interest and the propensity to actually look after young kids. But that's all we really need to do, and I think the feedback that we've got from people is that they just love this idea.
So, Mr. Gera, it seems like CCH is providing a lot of facilities for children, but what about the special programs for parents?
I'm so glad you asked that, because all of this, all the coaching opportunities are available for the parents as well. So, for example, if you feel that you always wanted to sing and never had an opportunity to do that, sign up for the Shankar Mahadevan's singing academy classes. And, you know, you can explore that. You want to learn to play tennis. The tennis courts are there. The parents can also sign up for tennis coaching. So all the coaching opportunities are available not just for the children, they're also available for the parents.
So, Mr. Gera, also tell us, how will the entire family end up spending more quality time together at CCH?
I think the most important is, if you reduce the stress levels that people have, they're in a far better mood, right? So I think that's one thing that we expect will happen. I think the other thing that will happen is, parents don't have to do the dropping and fetching themselves. So that also gives them more time. And I think the third aspect is the opportunity for them to just go downstairs, watch the kid participate in whatever coaching he is participating in, and the child has a natural propensity and a natural desire to actually show to his parents what he's doing. This gives the parent the opportunity to actually participate in that development. In addition to this, we're also looking at parenting workshops, right? We're also looking at parent-child bonding events. So again, it helps to create deeper, more meaningful relationships which parents want to have with their children, but just the hassle of organizing it and managing it is just preventing them from doing so. So we think child-centric homes will actually even work at that level.
So, Mr. Gera, are we going to see child-centric homes in just one project, or are we expecting many more such projects to come up?
Oh, I think certainly it's going to be spreading across. I think that there is a need for parents facing this situation across the country. So it isn't limited to one sub-market in one city. So currently we have it at Song of Joy in Kharadi in Pune. So we're all very excited with the concept of child-centric homes. We believe that this innovative new idea, solving a whole new problem, which is in addition to the shelter problem, has the potential to make a difference to the lives of many young parents today, and hopefully across other cities and across other projects as well.